Hi Flosstube, my name's Jess, this is Alfie, we're, it's as much his channel as mine to be fair. So yeah, Cross Stitch Jess here on Flosstube and over on Instagram. I'm here to talk about stitching. It's been about 2 weeks since my last update, so just gonna show you what I've been working on, which admittedly is only 2 projects, but I have some FFOs. And I got some good progress on my 2 projects, so yeah. I also have, I'm going to very briefly show you the advent calendars that I've got, which I will be opening starting on Monday, because I think when I did my plans video I didn't actually physically have any of them to show you, so very quickly show you that. I've also got some acquisitions. I went to the Harrogate Knit and Stitch show last weekend. My sense of time is completely gone at the moment. But yeah, went to Harrogate, bought some stuff, gonna show you that, but I'll do that at the end because I know some people don't love seeing acquisitions. And what else? That's it, I think. I'm gonna get stuck straight in while we're here. So because I've just had to gather them, the FFOs are first. So our first up, I don't know which way to, there we go, least glare. So this is Aurora Borealis by Mill Hill. I stitched it on the perforated paper. You have, if you are a regular, you will have already seen this in this frame, but it is now fully finished in that I picked up this very skinny little mount, which Lisa from Atelier Frames very kindly sorted out for me, because this would have fit in this frame perfectly if I had correctly centered it on the perforated paper. Hi. No, Alfie. But I had not. It was like 2 stitches to the side. So yeah, the little mount just allows me to sort of trim the paper and shuffle it across a little bit without there being a gap on the other side. So this is now fully done. I am absolutely obsessed, and the frame is so perfect for it. It shows up really coppery on the camera, but I think in person it is more of the blue. I think the camera just really picks up those coppery highlights. But this frame also matches one that I had last year for my Tangled Fire, which is my fully beaded project. So this is like, it's lighter, but it's the same style, so it's the same sort of blue and copper, just the other one is like a darker shade of both. Yeah, I love this, and I'm going to try and hold it up nice and close. It does have the beads in there as well, and the button in the top here. Sorry for the glare. Lots of lights on to try and chase away the dingy winter weather. But yeah, absolutely love that one. The next one I am absurdly excited about. This is really unhelpful. No. They're getting dog snot on my stitching. Thank you. So this is Cabin in the... no, okay, you're going to have to move. Your head's in the way. Excuse me. Thank you. So this is Cabin in the Woods. So this is by Flossabilities. I hand dyed the fabric myself. And then again, Lisa from Atelier Frames has done the framing for me. Picking this one, I have to give some credit to, oh god, like I dragged so many people over. So I think Emma, from Emma X Stitching even, Shelley and Sarah from Cross Stitch Mad Sarah. I had every bloody framing sample came off that board and got laid around this. I went for this one in the end. I'll give you a bit of a close up of what the frame is. So it's kind of like it's white, but it's kind of weathered, I guess is the word. But my logic was, I quite like this series, so there's a good chance I'm going to do the other ones, but I'd like to be able to swap them into the same frame and have it almost like a bit seasonal. There's the Chalet in the Snow, which is obviously quite wintry. I quite like this as like an autumn piece. There's the Shack by the Shore, which is the beachy kind of summer vibes one. But I think what I liked about this frame is I could picture it hanging in all 3 of those homes. So like I can picture this frame being in this cabin, like hanging on the wall in the cabin, and the same for the chalet, and the same for the beach hut. So that was what sold me in the end. I don't have the other patterns yet. I don't know when I'll stitch them, but the plan is there. And this has gone up on the wall in our hallway, so every time I come down the stairs, it's kind of right there. I'm just so happy with how it came out. And I'm so happy that I stuck to my guns with this this fabric dyeing plan. So this fabric, I don't think I've got the other piece handy. No, I think I put it away. Sorry, scratchy label. There it is. Classic. 6 minutes in, Alfie. You lasted 6 minutes before asking to go out. We finish showing this, okay, and then I'll come let you out. Yeah, the original fabric for this was orange and white mottled, and I had this vision for this sort of sunset or sunrise through the trees kind of vibe, and I feel like everyone I showed the fabric to, no. I know I've just had my hair done. No, stop trying to sniff me. Okay, fine. It's really tickly, Alfie. Are you done smelling the hair products? Are we done? Thank you. We're not done. God. Honestly, this is my life. I completely forgot what I was saying. Yeah, the fabric. So I had this vision for like over dyeing that orange and white piece with some blue, and I feel like everyone I showed it to was like, I'm not so sure about that, Jess, but I'm glad I stuck to my guns. So we're back. Massively sidetracked whilst gone, but we're back. So WIPS. I have 2 WIPS and a new craft. Not just a new start, a new craft. So first of the WIPS is Dragon Whisperer. So this is a Quaternion Creations design. I am colour completing this, so I'm just stitching the black first. And this is 2 full skeins of DMC that have gone into this. There will be pops of colour. Let me show you the colours because they're gorgeous. So it's only 3 colours in the whole pattern. So you've got the 310, I forget to check this every time, but I think it's DMC 666, and then this gorgeous DMC variegated. So it's got sort of very light grey through to dark grey, and then a sort of wine red colour in there as well. So really love those. I'm saving the good bit. I'm saving the pops of colour till the end. So I think there's some pops of colour here. There's a ring that goes around this central motif, and then the wings have like a fill pattern in the variegated thread. So 2 skeins down. I reckon I'm going to need just over 4 skeins of this. I'm stitching this on white 16 count, and this is actually a model stitch. It's already a released design, so you can already go and buy it. But yeah, model stitching it for some new cover pictures with the variegated floss. I'm really loving this. I'm really enjoying having a monochrome, effectively a monochrome pattern. It's nice and easy, and I took it out this morning, but I keep a little tin in this bag with scissors and a needle, so it's my little like grab and go travel project at the moment. And it's just really like, it's just easy. I think one of the weekend days, so I did Harrogate, and then I went on up to Newcastle to visit Shelley and Sherry, and while I was there, I mean, we had a stitchy day, but I got like 750, 800 stitches done, bearing in mind half the time we were sat chatting rather than stitching. So it's nice and easy to chip away at that one. Really enjoyed it. My next one, God, I haven't clocked that I tucked this in the corner, and it's a little bit awkward and clunky. Let me take learning from last time's mistake, take the clamp off, save myself the arm ache. So Next up we have The Legend of Freya. So this is a Bella Filipina. I am stitching this on organza. You can see here this is the actual fabric I'm stitching it on, and then over the top I've got waste canvas for the sizing. So I think the last time I showed it I hadn't done much. I'd done this the back end of the spear, and then I'd started working through her hair. I finished off her hair, added some of this gold crown, and there are some beads in there as well. And then I've done all of this sort of crest of the seahorse and started on his face. I'm loving this so far. It's still a learning experience. My stitches aren't perhaps as neat as I would normally like them if I was stitching on Aida, but I think that's just getting used to not like slanting the needle as I go through a hole, because obviously even though they're very closely attached, they're like putting it through the hole on the waste canvas, if it's at a slant it's still going to go through the organza at a different place, even if it's only 1 or 2 threads over. So just trying to be really precise about sort of perpendicular needle to fabric. But I'm really loving these colours. I looked yesterday at the mock-up of the whole thing and I'm a bit gutted that this is most of the big bright colourful bit. There's a little bit more that comes down, which will be my next sort of row, and then there's some in the tail, but I'm a bit gutted that the whole project isn't nice bright colours, to be fair. So what I'm doing at the moment is picking a colour. I'm going down to like the 70 stitch mark on the pattern, so I'm picking a colour that's sort of rightmost and then just working it all the way in. So all of these blues, I'm kind of colour completing them down to that sort of 70 stitch mark, and then I'll just finish off the thread, which is why there's some bits that sort of come down a little bit further. Yeah, so I will carry on working across the seahorse's face again down to that 70 stitch mark. There is an absolute shed load of krienik to go in here, so I actually did quite a lot coming up here before I started on putting the colours in. Realised I'd made a counting mistake very early on, like down here, and that everything else I'd done had to get ripped out because it was off by 1 stitch. So that's why I've gone back to DMC, most of the DMC first and then the krienik, but mostly because I don't mind unpicking DMC if I make a mistake. I don't really want to have to unpick krienik again. That was not fun. It's hard enough to stitch it once, let alone unstitch it and then redo it again. And then the same for the beads. So initially when I did these beads, I don't know how well it will show. I need to start doing this with the camera the other way around. But the beads, so sort of this section has the beads in, all down here. And then there's a couple of beads in these gold bits on the spear. For ease, or what I thought was ease, I was initially doing those in the krienik because the pattern doesn't tell you what thread to use to attach the beads, and I figured these lacy bits I basically want to minimise, can't hold it and explain, where the stitching, the edge of the stitching is, and on those frilly bits it's like sometimes single stitch lines coming out from her hair. I've got to be really careful that anywhere I travel on the back is directly behind the stitches or it will show through the organza. So I figured to keep that as straightforward as possible, if I used the krienik that I'm already there stitching with to attach the beads, it will make it like there's less threads on the back, so it's easier to keep them neat. I think I made that harder for myself by not realising that the krienik is meant to be 1 strand and I was doing it with 2. So I might have another crack at that, but otherwise I might just use a DMC, like as close a colour to the bead as possible to attach the beads. But yeah, so I feel like I'm waffling. I'm going to finish the seahorse's face, get in all of that krienik, and then add the beads. I might add the beads as I go because I think all of this section is now stitched. It's just the beads and krienik to be added. And then the last thing I'm going to do is her face, purely because when I then move on to the next sort of 50, 60, 70 rows, that's where most of her skin tone is. So if I'm going to get those colours out, I might as well get them out and carry them on and just get those done and out of the way. I'm 99% set on doing her skin 2/2 or 2/1 because it's 18 count rather than dropping it down and doing the equivalent of 1/1, just because I can't be bothered and I don't really like stitching skin tones. I find them kind of boring, so I'm not gonna inflict that on myself. And also, I don't know, I haven't done a test for how 1/1 does for coverage on the organza, so we're just going to stick with what we know. We're going to do 2/2. But yeah, I'm really loving this. I know it's insane, but that's me. I'm stitching this with a bunch of ladies, so I think myself, Rachel from Talking Dog Stitchery, and Kat from Catkin and Lily initially arranged to stitch this together. But it is very much an open invitation. If you're also stitching this, if you want to join our Instagram group chat, let me know, drop me a message on there so I can easily add you. But we've now got Goo from Gooey Glam Stitches, we've got Michelle, we've got Gina, and Lauren from Cross Stitch Bunny. I think that's everyone. I've almost definitely forgotten someone, but I think that's it for now. But yeah, I'm really enjoying seeing people start in different places. Kat has started at the bottom of the seahorse's tail. Rachel and Goo have both done a centre start, so they've sort of started with the mermaid's hip and leg. So it's quite cool seeing different parts of the design come together. And I'm also really impressed that this is already like 8%. I think I was picturing that this was going to take me years and years. But especially for this crest, it's like 5 colours, but they're like kind of almost just stripes. It just went so quickly. I really enjoyed it. So, yay! Right, tuck that. Will it stay? It will stay. Yeah. In fact, no, while I've just remembered, I do have another fully finish. I'm going to say it now because I don't have it here and I'll forget. If I let it go from my brain, it's not going to come back. So the other thing that I have FFO'd yesterday, yesterday was a good day for the FFOing, was the I Will Find You. So I made an adapted version of I Will Find You by Lucy Beam. I took out the word fabric, so it just said, I don't know who used my scissors, but I will find you. I did this for my hairstylist, and as I think I said, I've had my hair cut this morning, so I've already gifted it, but I took a photo, so I wasn't organised enough for a Past Jess segment, but I just about organised enough for a photo. But yeah, I gave that to him today, and he really loved it. And he like immediately was like, I know exactly where this is going at home. So yeah, really happy with that and how it came out, and yeah, yay. And then my new hobby, which is definitely addictive, I started knitting a pair of socks. That's a crochet hook that shouldn't be there. So they're not very far. I'm using the No Fear sock knitting pattern and like video tutorials. What is going on here? Excuse all of the yellow threads. I am using the long tail as my, like, is it called a lifeline? Where you put in I screwed up the heel and I ripped it out and then had the traumatic experience of trying to pick up stitches, which I'm never doing again. But I've put in a lifeline, yellow line across here, so that if I screw up the heel again I can fix it easily. But basically this is going to be the ankle, and this flappy bit at the bottom here, I've just tried to move those yellow strands and put them in the way instead. Yeah, this flappy bit at the bottom that I'm currently working on is going to be like the back of the heel, so like the bit that would go against the back of your shoe. I think I am almost done with that. I need to carefully count my stitches, which I'm terrible at doing, but I think I've maybe just got one more row that I need to add on to that, and then I need to figure out how to attach it all back together into the rest of the heel. I don't know. I'm figuring it out as we go, but I'm quite enjoying it. At work at the moment, like I work from home, and for anyone who's relatively new to the channel, I guess, my job is quite technical, and at the moment it involves telling the computer to run and do like a thing 100 times, which takes about 10 minutes. So it's quite nice setting that up, getting a couple of rows of knitting in, analysing the results, and then I have to make a tweak and then run it again. Just basically like fine-tuning a model. So yeah, made quite good progress. Quite impressed at how fast I can get a row or a round of knitting done. So yeah, that's been really nice, and it's nice to have something a little bit different. And I am a very big fan of the fluffy socks, so I'm excited to have some fluffy socks that I can say I've made for myself. Right, that I believe is all of the knitting, stitching, all the stuff for you. Okay, so moving on to Advent and Christmas. So I've done a whole plans video, so if you want to see the detail of this, go check that out. I think it's 2 or 3 videos ago now, but I now know how to do the links, so I'll put a link. Basically, I love Advent calendars. I have several that I will very briefly show you. But during December, each day, I'm going to film a little clip of me opening them, showing you what I got. So Advent number 1 is a bought one. This is from KLT Charting. So I got the hand-dyed floss and fabrics. I think I went for Aida. So I will be opening, and I think it's like alternating. So I'm guessing this is a floss and this is a fabric. So we'll be opening those every other day. Every day even, running up to Christmas. I then have one that I did as part of an exchange. So through the Cross Stitch Friends in the UK Facebook group, you can sign up, and I basically got paired with a lovely lady, and we told each other what we like, shared pictures of our WIPS and things, and then we made each other an advent calendar. So we agreed a budget and we each sent a calendar. So she's got the one that I made for her, and this is the one that she made for me. So again, one of these that I'll get to open every day. And I think this is like my favourite way of doing stitching advents, to be honest. It's just like, it's nice to connect with another stitcher that you might not cross path with otherwise. So that's exciting. And some of the packages are really unusual sizes. So I'm really curious to find out what has gone in there. And then my last one is my stockings. So I did this last year. Each of these stockings has a little card. Can I show it? A little card in there, which has the name of a project. So last year I did 12 new starts. So I'd open one every other day. So like the 1st, the 3rd, the 5th, and so on. And it would tell me the name of a project, and I would start that project and work on it for a couple of days, and then open the next stocking and move on to the next one. So I've just got the one that's in easy reach, but I've got like 4 of these little shelves, so you can just see. Oh, hands not good at this. There's another one here and another one just off the camera there. This is testing my coordination skills. I'm not going to grab it because it's heavy, but I've got a basket with the 12 projects in. This year, the way I've done it is if I finished a project in the past 12 months that was one of these new starts, then I've got a new start in its place. Otherwise, I'm working on the same WIP again. And several of them I'm restarting because I've not really touched them. And a lot of that is down to I didn't like my fabric choice the first time round. The one that I specifically want to call out though, I'm so excited for this. So Flosstube Friends, which is, my brain is blanking on who the original is by. I want to say October House Fibre Arts. It will be on the banner. I know I have this one set up as an overlay. So I'll show you that, and what the original will look like will be up here somewhere. I have recharted this and made some tweaks. Tweaks to sort of what the women in this design are holding, and some tweaks to their outfits to turn them more into my friends, my stitchy friends. So I'm going to show you that because I am so stoked, and it's going to take me a hot minute to actually stitch any of these up. So I want to show off the fact that I recharted these and I'm really proud of them. So I've added in an extra figure because there are loads of people that I would love to add to this, but like I can't fit more people without having to change the border. So I've added one extra person, so there's now 7 rather than 6. but I would absolutely love if you want to comment below. Most of these people are Flosstubers. I'm just trying to think. I think there's one person on there who isn't on Flosstube. So I would absolutely love hearing your guesses about who these people are meant to be representing. I've talked about one of them before, so no spoiler, like, yeah, no brownie points for getting that one right. I've been fairly open about who one of them was going to be, but I'd love to hear what you all think. Yeah, I'm so stoked, and I bet you, because John puts the little cards in these advent stockings, I write the little cards out and I give him like a little note card that's like, I'm away on this weekend, so nothing with beads, and each of the cards has like in brackets in the corner, like if it's got beads, if it's not travel friendly, that kind of thing. So I don't know what order these projects are going to come up in, and now that I'm super excited for this project, I bet you he's put it in number 12. It's going to be the last one I open. But anyway, it is what it is. I'm excited for all of these projects, to be fair. But yeah, so Flossmas, I will be opening all 3 on camera, showing you what I've got, telling you which project I'm going to start, and then I'll show you like a very brief, like, this is how far I got yesterday, this is how far I got after 2 days before I open the next stocking and move on to the next project. That is it, stitching and advent wise. So the last thing I have for you is my Harrogate haul. I'll be real, I think I was quite restrained. Most of what I got was actually fabrics, as in cotton fabrics for making project bags. So I'm kind of justifying those to myself as an investment in my bag making sort of side hustle, as opposed to I can't resist buying pretty things, which is probably more accurate. But I've also just in the bag realised I actually got more stitching goodies from visiting Sherry. We went over to Sherry's, Shelley and I went over for a bit of a stitchy day, and genuinely she let us go have a look around her stitching room, and I was like a kid in Disneyland. It was amazing. She was like, look in all the drawers, go for it. And anytime I said something was really pretty, she was like, do you want it? Like, I feel like I'm robbing you, Sherry. So Alfie, would you mind shuffling so that I can get this bag? Excuse me. Good boy. Bag is gonna steal your spot. So from Sherry's, I came away with 2 kits. So these are by, can't see a company name. What's the company name? Still can't find a company name. Give me a sec. Monstrous Designs. So this was actually from the Swery Stitches last year, so 2024. This was one of the vendors, so I remember Sherry buying these. So this one is Introverted Bat, which is, to be fair, very much my vibe. It says less a social butterfly and more of an introverted bat. So I will no doubt stitch that up at some point. And it actually has a very pretty fabric. Let's try to get out of the bag. So it has this pretty hand-dyed fabric, which looks really small actually. Not sure if that's meant to be an 18 or a 20 count. I'm not sure. But yeah, I will definitely stitch that one up at some point. And then this Moon Planchette, which is same designer. It just says goodbye. So those were from Sherry. What else was from Sherry's? So there was also this little stack of, well, not so little stack of fabric. I'm very much a high count Aida. I'm really sorry for the crinkling bag. I'm very much a high count Aida person. So yeah, the first drawers that Sherry showed us were her like linens and even weaves. And anytime I said something was pretty and she asked if I want it, I was like, it's really pretty, Sherry, but I'm unlikely to actually stitch on it. She was like, oh, like look at the aidas then, like pulling all these drawers open with aida and being like, do you like any of these? Do you want them? So the first one is this gorgeous kind of dark purple colour. Ooh, that shows up really oddly on the camera. This like bit that looks really blue definitely doesn't look blue in real life, and the lighter patches aren't as light. It blows my mind how differently things look on camera. It's not as variegated as that looks. It's a bit more, it's like solid with a little bit of variegation, but it's really pretty regardless. And it's quite an unusual, like I don't feel like I see this kind of dark purple colour very often. So that's one. And then this one is like, I don't remember which way this was folded that caught my eye, but again, oh gosh, wow, the camera is doing that dirty. It is nowhere near as neon as that. It's a bit more like murky, but it smells really good. Why does sand-dyed fabric smell so strong? I'm not complaining because it's a good smell, but that's really odd. Yeah, it's not that neon. I mean, I don't know, maybe it is. It's not that neon everywhere. Like the darker, sort of murkier patches are a bit more prominent than it looks. This side's a lot darker in general. But yeah, absolutely love both of those. And then I can't remember why these ended up coming home with me because they're all even weaves. I think I just said they were pretty and Sherry was adamant that I was taking them. So they're all kind of pastel colours. So this one's sort of like pastel blue and green. It looks yellow. I don't know what is up with my lighting today. It's not yellow. Or is it? I'm like, I don't know whether I'm not trusting my eyes or whether I'm not trusting the camera at this point. But it's kind of a pastel bluey green colour. This one's pastel purple with some snowflakes on. That's a bit more like the only one that's going to show accurately. Pastel with some snowflakes. And these are quite big pieces as well. I think these are all from Lakeside. Can't see a name on that one. It's another Lakeside one. It's like pastel pink, sort of marble, like smoky pink effect. And then this one, which I think is linen. Yeah, and that's again, it's like a pale, like a pastel peachy pink with purple sort of smoke swirl effect on it. Yeah, I'm still confused how I came out of Sherry's house with more cross-stitching stash than I did coming out of Harrogate, but there we go. I did a couple of workshops, so this doesn't look like anything, but it taught me how to knit in the round, which is why I can now knit socks. So yeah, knitting in the round was one of my workshops, and then the other was making these little fabric bags. So actually the other one was what I made first. So this one I made first. It's got like a little boxed corners, and we got to use the fancy stitches on the sewing machine for the top edging. And then it's got a little ribbon closure, and the idea is that you sew a button on the front, and the ribbon hooks over the button. She sort of suggested that we can easily sew those on at home, which gave us time to make a second bag. So this was my second one. I've just put the button for it in the wrong bag, but we'll find that, it's fine. So yeah, made some gift bags, which I really enjoyed. And Shelley and Rachel from, again, Talking Dog Stitchery, were both actually at Harrogate for that morning as well. So we went and did this workshop together, which was a lot of fun. In this little bag, I have stashed some of the smaller bits. So I got some teeny tiny hoops. I actually got 3 of these, but one of them is with my double hoop owl pattern. So the idea for that is you put the main design in a hoop as you would normally, but there's sort of like a negative space. So you're meant to put one of these backwards, and then you cut the middle and stretch it the other way. So there's like a negative space hole in the middle of the pattern, but I was really struggling to find small enough hoops, so when I found them I bought extras just in case. What else have we got in here? Random post-it notes. I got a cute little scissor cover, for when I want to pop scissors in a project bag and have them as travelling. That's my other button. That one went in there. And then I bought a bunch of zippery bits, which I appreciate aren't that interesting for you guys to see. But these I'm very excited for, even though they're quite plain, because they are going to allow me to use the metallic zips that I bought. And I didn't realise that the metallic zips are a different size to the coloured zips, and therefore need a different size of zipper pull. So now I have the right zipper pull. The next batch of project bags are going to have all the rainbow zips. And then these were a really good price. So I got some fun like little star zipper pulls. Those are stars as well. Some with little leaves on. I basically just raided the bag. Raided the box of fun zippers. So again, I'm seeing those as an investment in the bag making, as opposed to a splurge that I didn't really need. My only other cross stitch bits, I got myself an Abris Art beaded embroidery kit. I have had my eye on these for a hot minute, but seeing them in person definitely sold me. I was a little bit gutted because I spent ages umming and ahhing between this and one that was like a moon with a dragon sleeping on it. But I kind of wanted something small to start with, and they were both the same size and same price. I ended up going for this one, and then after paying, I walked past, like, it was a long skinny stall, and these were all on the back wall, so I'd come in at one end and gone straight to looking at them. I paid and then came out and walked along the outside and saw that they had all the little ornament size versions. So I really wish that I'd taken the time to actually look around a bit more, because I probably would have gone for 2 small ornament kits over one big, like, regular kit. But regardless, I'm really excited for this, and it will go in our spare room, which is kind of like a space theme. Which I'm going to have to show you guys at some point, because I feel like every time I say it, it sounds like I've decorated our spare room like a 5-year-old's bedroom. But, like, adult space theme. Like, that makes it sound weird as well. Oh my god. I'm not going to go into it. We've got a dark blue feature wall and NASA-themed posters. There we go. There. Right, there's one more cross-stitch related thing in here. Let me figure out where that is. So my last 2 things that are cross stitch, I got myself some pearl cotton. So this is actually to do, I can never remember what it's called, sashiko. At the Festival of Quilts I bought a sashiko printed fabric, and this is looking very red on here, but it's more like autumnal, like dark red, bright red, orange, dark orange, that kind of thing. It's like autumn leaves, so I thought some nice pearl cotton. And this is a paint box threads, which will be my first time using their threads. I'm very excited because I do have a set that I'm planning to use for another project in future. But she was really lovely, she was really helpful. And I need to remember to email her for some help with picking some other colours to go with the kit, the set of 10 that I already have. And then some pretty fabric. So I've never really done sparkly fabric before, so this will be a new experience, and the camera is not going to do this justice, but it is a gorgeous, that's pretty good, to be fair. It's like a really subtle, there's like pinks and a little bit of yellow, and I'm not going to do it justice with words, but the camera is doing a pretty good job, to be fair. It's maybe a little bit lighter than it looks, and I think Rachel got essentially the same colour combination but in non-sparkly. And again, it's a 32 count even weave, which I would never normally opt for, but it was just too pretty. And it was in her offcuts box, so I don't know if this is a colour that she normally does but in an unusual cut. It's 11 by 27, so I guess it is quite an unusual size, but I loved it, couldn't say no. So that's all my cross stitchy bits. The rest is all fabric, because I have no self-control. And Rachel did not help. So Shelley was just there for the morning for the workshop. She actually did the show the day before. Rachel and I bimbled round for the morning together. And there was a particular stall where I was like, I want to buy all the things. I've got their card somewhere so that I can go back and buy all the things when I've used up some of my fabric stash. But yeah, Rachel was just egging me on. anytime I was like, I don't need both of these, she was like, oh, but this one would go with that, and that would be a good match for this one. It's like, well, now I want 2 more rather than less. So the fabric stack is a bit ridiculous. It doesn't look that ridiculous, but a lot here. I'm just going to quickly flick through these because I appreciate fabrics aren't everyone's thing. So these are all intended to be project bags. We've got dragon scales, we've got Christmas, it's got like music note background and then Christmas snowflakes, so that's probably going to make some gift bags for my family. We've got a nice black and white and somewhere in here, right at the bottom typically, there's some black and white that I'll probably use as the lining. And also I've got some black and white fabrics already, but this was a really good value sort of end of roll bundle. We have one that I picked up specifically for Beth. They actually had 2 different Pokemon fabrics and I was like, well, one of those is definitely coming home with me. So yeah, the original trio plus Pikachu on that one. We've got some nice, oh, show these the better way around. So this is one of the ones that I really liked and I was trying to talk myself out of, and then Rachel pointed out that this would go really well with it as a lining. So some pretty like whales and mermaids and things, which I'm excited for. Another one that I saw and picked up for a particular person, so Sarah, Cross Stitch Mad Sarah, this one is for you. There were a couple of people, so now Pokemon, elephants for Sarah and dinosaurs for Emma. I'm basically incapable of seeing those fabrics and not buying them with the intent of making project bags for those people. So I now have 3 different elephant project fabrics for project bags. Have I made a single one of them up? No. Did I still buy this 3rd one? Absolutely. I think this one was just another, I might make some Christmas gift bags out of it. Maybe some project bags. I don't know. I don't have plans for these things. I just buy the pretty stuff. And then this one I got as a real bargain because there are some imperfections on it, but I think I could still make really good use. I mean, that the imperfections are only in small places. So I'm hoping I can work around those to use this for some project bags or even for some lining. But again, really, really good bargain. So that is it. That is, like I said, I came away with much more cross stitch related stuff from Sherry's. I think that's everything for now. I will be back. I'm planning to do my Flossmas where I film it daily, but then I'll squash them together and upload every sort of 6 or 7 days, so that I find Flossmas or YouTube in December really overwhelming with the flood of uploads. So I'm going to try and minimise that level of impact by doing them like once a week instead. But yeah, I'm excited to start that and I'm excited to share it with you and share what I'm stitching on as I go. So it'll be about a week for you guys before I'm back, but I will see you then. Bye for now.